In the beginning, there was dark, empty space. Then there was a burst of energy, and the process of creation could be discerned in the vastness of nothing. During eons of time, universes, far-flung galaxies came into being. There was darkness and there was light. There was earth and sky, sun, moon, and stars. There was life, and there was humankind. We viewed our domain, considered the distant planets and stars, and deduced that all of this was created for us. The air for our breath, the sun for our warmth, the earth for our produce. We looked into the eternal abyss beyond our world and dreamed of space and time without end. We lived in the paradise of innocence in which no threat existed to goodness or to life. But then death came into the world and completion of our earthly existence. For the first time, we felt fear. We began to lose our vision, and in our confusion, we pondered only as far as our own end. The tranquility of life ceased. We came to know agony and pain, strife and war, cruelty, oppression, and slavery. Out of that slavery came forth a people. This people gazed at the distant heavens, and their vision of eternality returned. They perceived a vast creative universe. Despair turned to hope. Darkness gave way to light. The heavens called to this people. "You are my witness," cried the majestic but demanding voice. "Only you have I known. Only you of all the peoples on earth feel at one with the creative powers of the universe. Only you see and feel the awesome rays of the sun, but do not worship its source. Only you stand in awe of the moon and stars, but do not bow down to them. You give testimony to the glory and power of life. Only you hold it sacred above all else. Only you feel the heartbeat of all generations of humankind. Feel the pulse of life beyond our own age. You are my witness to the goodness and potential of human life. Only you will strive to turn wormwood into parchment. Only you will cite slavery as reason for compassion. You are my witness," thundered the voice. But then the sound of instruments and singing could be heard. This people had forgotten the voice. The people danced around a golden calf and described to it power and might. At first, the voice was angry. It wanted to destroy this people. But then the voice wept. There can be no dream without a dreamer. There can be no witness without a people. The voice offered a challenge. Not for your sake will I save you, but rather for mine, for the sake of this world. The people became Israel, and Israel again became the witness. This was another beginning. For us, there have been centuries of anguish and sorrow and death. Again and again, we have been reminded of our finite existence. Yet we ever have been a faithful witness. Hope has emerged from suffering. Restoration has risen from the ashes of destruction. Always we have kept our eye on the infinite, clinging to a vision of a messianic future. Hear, O Israel, has been our admonition. I believe with perfect faith has been our response. From Egypt to Canaan, From Spain to America, from Auschwitz to Israel, we have endured, nay, we have triumphed. Now we here wear the mantle of our inheritance, proudly proclaiming that we too are witness, answering over and over, I believe. I believe that we can and do participate in the creative process of life. We are endowed with the capacity to make of life something it is not. Philosophers will debate the nature of the universe. They will ponder the truly difficult questions of human freedom. Many will conclude that we are fettered by what we are. We are locked, if you will, in a container from which we cannot escape. Our parents were not our choice. We had little to say about our childhood environment, whether strict or laissez-faire, wealthy or poor, urban or rural, tense or relaxed. No choice at all have we had in the selection of the color of our hair, the sound of our voice, the capacity of our mind. Some of us do not like what we are. Brunette becomes blonde, blonde becomes auburn. We would have liked to have someone consult us, how tall we would like to be, what color eyes we would have, what hue skin we would prefer. But we were not asked. What we are, in large measure, was settled long before we were even aware that the issue was in question. Yet I believe in a dynamic world, not one which is static and stagnant. We are not forever restricted by the mold in which we were formed. If that were true, we would never be responsible for our own behavior. Our tradition very much holds us responsible. I have set before you the blessing and the curse, good and evil, life and death. Choose that which is right and good, that you may live. Nowhere do we find the implication that we are helpless pawns in a genetic chess game. Foreign is the notion that accident alone determines what we are and what we do. Others are not responsible. Only we contribute to the present and future generations of humankind. What we do and what we are does indeed make a difference. A legend. 36 just human beings roam the earth. They are the Lamed Vovniks. The Hebrew letter Lamed Vav corresponds to the number 36. The Lamed Vovniks do not necessarily know who they are. A Lamed Vovnik came to Sodom, the sin-filled city of biblical lore. He was determined to change the behavior of Sodom's inhabitants, to rescue them from inevitable punishment. Day and night he walked the streets and markets, preaching against greed and theft, falsehood and indifference. In the beginning, people listened. They even smiled ironically. Then they stopped caring. He no longer even amused them. The killers went on with their killing. The wise kept silent as if there were no just man in their midst. One day, a child, moved by compassion for the unfortunate preacher, approached him questioningly. "Poor stranger, you shout, you expend yourself, body and soul. Don't you see that it is hopeless?" "Yes, I see," answered the just man. "Then why do you go on?" "I'll tell you why. In the beginning, I thought I could change humankind. Now I am not so sure. If I still shout today, if I still scream, it is at least to prevent others from changing me." I believe in tikkun olam, in our capacity to repair a broken world. I believe, however, that the task begins with us. If we are unable to change ourselves, then we will be helpless to transform humanity. I do believe in repentance, that we can be different today from what we were yesterday. Our lives do have meaning, and they do have relevance. We struggle. Yes, we endure pain and disappointment. Yet sometimes we feel like Sisyphus, pushing a massive boulder toward a mountaintop when its unalterable course is to roll back down the mountain without ever reaching the summit. We feel destined to strain against the terrible burden of all humanity and to all eternity. Yet it might even have been possible for Sisyphus to understand something about life, that the struggle itself has meaning. We never reach the apex of existence. Life does require work. But in that effort, we also experience joy and fulfillment. We come to understand that life does offer infinite numbers of possibilities to do something that is worthwhile. So we alter our own perspective to be optimistic rather than pessimistic, hopeful rather than anguished. I believe in America. Our heritage of freedom has allowed beliefs and ideas to flourish in our nation. When Thomas Jefferson campaigned for president, he was verbally assaulted by religious leaders of his day because he had advanced the notion that this was to be a non-religious nation and that the Constitution should reflect that fact. Jefferson understood that there could be no higher authority than the will of the people if this was to be a democratic society. I believe in a nation where we welcome the stranger. We guarantee that women will have control over their own bodies. Where all people of every race, religion, ethnic background, sexual orientation has equal standing and equal opportunity. We will care for the widow and the orphan and the poor and the immigrant. And we will answer in the affirmative, yes, I am my brother's keeper. The reading of books will not be censored by any government agency. Freedom of and freedom from religion will be honored. I believe in an America that cherishes the holiness code which we read today, the holiness code of the book of Leviticus, that you shall not steal, that you shall not deal falsely with one another, that you shall not defraud your neighbor, where honesty and integrity shall prevail. I believe in an America in which the words of reassurance by George Washington to the Jewish community of Newport said, "We give to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance." In America where the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. The admonition of President Roosevelt after Pearl Harbor. An America where we can all hold hands and sing, "This land is your land, this land is my land. This land was made for you and me." We, the Jew, promote freedom and democracy for all people. I believe that we are especially sensitive to the pain and the agony of human history. We sit in this magnificent sanctuary, surrounded by its glory and its splendor. The very walls speak to us from the past. Think of the tens of thousands of men and women and children who have worshiped within these walls, the famous, the ordinary, the exhilarated, and the woeful. They speak to us of our history and of our destiny. They remind us that we are Israel, that we have a mission to fulfill. Their visions and their dreams never should be restricted by the walls which house them. Our commitment is to people as well as to buildings, to life as well as to institutions, to ideals as well as just the words which state them. Long ago, we abandoned the practice of bringing our offerings to the Temple Mount. The practice of sprinkling blood upon the altar became abhorrent. It satisfied no universal demands, and it distorted the message of the faith it represented. No longer are we part of a cult, and no longer is the religious leader a high priest. We do not come here once a year or twice a year or 50 times a year to bring our offerings and thus fulfill our commitment as part of the people of Israel. We are a prophetic people who stalk the earth indignantly. The message we bear is not restricted to time and place. It is eternal. It is universal. Because we were slaves in the land of Egypt, because we were the pariah of every country on earth, because we were the victims of the most heinous crime of all of human history, because we are the people Israel, we cry out against human suffering. We are intolerant of injustice. We are impatient with societies and governments which are indifferent to the misery of the stranger, the plight of the impoverished, the distress of the oppressed. Seek justice, relieve the oppressed. Let justice well up as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream, demanded the prophets. We responded, we will do, and we will obey. We, the people of Israel, exist in order that humankind may hear the warnings of Amos, that a fat and complacent society will destroy itself. We exist in order that we may encounter the vision of Micah, that there will be a time when nations will live at peace, when people will live without fear. This mission has always been our reason for being, and this forever will be the banner of this people, Israel. So I believe that we can and will respond to the call to gaze at the distant heavens and see beyond our own lives. Of all the creatures on earth, only we have the capacity to envision a future different from the present or past. Life has meaning and purpose because the creation of that future is possible. The moon is within our reach. The sun and the stars, a goal not too far off. I have placed heaven and earth before you, spoke the voice. It is the fulfillment and the opportunity, the striving and the accomplishment which have been laid at our feet. Always there is heaven, always that which is beyond our reach. The struggle is as important as the serenity of the achievement. The dream as important as the reality. Any animal can build a shelter and hunt food. Only we can see beyond the basic needs of life. Only we can infuse life with a sense of significance beyond the moment. When we touch the lips of our children and our children's children, we are blowing breath into the future. We are feeling its beat. We are sensing its lifeblood. When we plan, when we build, when we create, we are giving something of ourselves to the generations of the future. Not only for our own sake do we share in life's joys and sorrows. Not only for us do we know the ecstasy of love and endure the stabbing pain when it is taken from us. We hold hands not only with our own generation, but with people of every generation. We have a sense of history, of time. We have a commitment to all life at all times and in all ages. We can and do and will remain the idealists of humankind, seeking the stars, listening to the voice. Out of the darkest mystery did life begin. Out of the bleakest conditions was Israel born. Life evolved. Israel developed into a people, a witness people, witness to the creative process of the universe, to the sanctity of life, to the potential for justice and righteousness among all human beings. I believe that we shall always be a faithful witness, that we shall always bring forth the law from Zion and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. We shall ever have the courage and the devotion and the idealism to be different and even unique. The words of the prophet will always speak to us. Let all peoples walk each one in the name of its God, but we will walk in the name of the Lord, our God, forever and ever. Amen.